the ignorance and the savagery of so many protesters now. Got to say, many seem typically Greens voters. You see it with the anti-Israel thugs. You saw it with the destruction of the people who destroyed that Captain Cook statue in Melbourne on Australia Day. Now in Hobart, the tearing down of this statue of a premier, William Crowther, a premier in the 19th century, who's also a prominent surgeon and humanitarian. Now, the statue was first found yesterday with the legs almost sawn through, and then last night, the police must have been asleep even after that. It was cut through completely. And this on the day that Tasmania's left-wing Civil and Administrative Tribunal upheld moves by Hobart Council to tear down the statue anyway. And all out of ignorance. You see, the councillors and the activists, they say, oh, Crowther had to go, that statue, because this man souvenired the skull of an Aboriginal man and sent it to London's Royal College of Surgeons. They're racist. But it seems that the claims are actually fake, or at least unproven. Crowther denied taking the skull. The statue denied receiving it. No proof. But who cares about the truth these days, right? It's all tribal. It's all tribal. It's enough that people identifying as Aboriginal had also identified Crowther as a skull-stealing, racist white guy, and the council caved. That's race politics in Australia today. All virtue signalling, few facts, and let's go and knock over something else. Joining me is Louise, Elliott, business consultant, Hobart City Councillor, and Federal Liberal MP Garth Hamilton. Louise, Elliott, you actually fought to save this statue on the council. Why did so many councillors cave in, do you think, to the statue smashers?
Yes, that's right. I did. I was one of a few of the council elected members on Hobart City Council that fought to protect this statue. I think there is obviously a lot of pressure in today's society, and this is a real low point for Tasmania, a really sad day from Hobart in my perspective, for multiple reasons. Firstly, there's the night before last, as you saw, there was a really solid attempt to bring the statue down. They had ground through 2/3 of the statue's legs. I expressed serious concerns about the security of the statue and asked for security to be on the statue all of that night. Last night, turns out that didn't happen. And the statue is now fallen down, was now dragged to the ground with a rope and an angle grinder. It's also a sad day because, yes, the decision came back from the tribunal that the tribunal upheld the council's decision to remove the statue, which I know a lot of people will find that completely mind-blowing, unfathomable really. But it raises a much bigger picture because obviously this statue, and I was really emotional seeing that on the ground this morning because it's so symbolic of so many things that are wrong with today's society. It seems there's a huge double standard in place where only some people's hurt and offence matters, only some people's history and culture matters, and only some people's history and culture is worth saving. I'm also really troubled about the message on there around decolonisation because it seems that decolonising is removing statues, but as I've said before, does decolonisation also mean removal of our hospitals, our education, our judicial system, our welfare system? So all in all, a really sad day and I'm gutted.
And don't forget, it wasn't even the council statue to tear down or VCATs to knock over because it was raised by public subscription of Hobart people at the time. This is cultural vandalism. But Garth, I don't want to run short on talking about the budget. You have been following this, of course, as a loyal Queenslander. You noticed a few more strange things about this budget that we've discussed so far tonight. Tell us about what caught your eye.
Look, I think Angus and Peter have done a great job of describing the broader problems with this budget, but I want to point out just two stars in the galaxy of problems that this budget has. One, the Warrego Highway. Now, this is a 715-kilometre highway from just past Ipswich all the way out to Charleville. 715 kilometres, only 5% of that, 35 kilometres, are in a Labor seat. The seat of Blair, which is a reasonably marginal seat at the moment. Now, surprise, surprise, in the budget we see $177 million of new funding for the Warrego. That sounds great, Andrew. It's the sort of thing people like me want to hear, except when we find out that 100% of that new funding is going to the 5% of the highway in Labor hands. It's the most blatant
pure coincidence, Garth. Pure coincidence.
Oh, who would have thought, Andrew?
Oh, those are unworthy thoughts in your mind. Louise, surely politicians don't do that kind of, little here, let me help you out to my side, this whiteboard stuff?
Yeah, surely not. But it seems that when the evidence stacks up, there is smoke and fire. It seems, but that's a pretty blatant one. But nothing would surprise me, especially under this Labor government, to be honest.
No, unfortunately, I think you're right. Garth, was there anything else in that budget that you said a couple?
Sadly, I have another one, and this one I'm not going to laugh about because the Department of Veteran Affairs provides an important service to veterans, making sure they get the support they need when they come back into civilian life. Sadly, we're seeing a reduction in numbers of staff at DVA guaranteed in this budget. Now, you ask any veteran, and I ask quite a lot on Anzac Day how things are going, the service that they're getting from DVA is still an issue. It is still a problem. It's been a problem for a while, and it certainly hasn't gone away. So it's really sad to see Labor reduce the number of staff helping out our veterans. But I'll tell you what, Andrew, there's a group of people whose numbers aren't dropping, and that's ABC staff. The budget confirms there is no drop in ABC staff. Absolutely no drop. So, when it comes to protecting their mouthpiece, the people that they're going to need to push their case in the election that's obviously coming just around the corner now, Labor want to make sure they have a full team on deck. But when it comes to providing the service that our veterans need, the support that they need, they turn their back on them. Just days after Anzac Day too, by the way.
Now, Louise, obviously people who live in Tasmania do it to commune with nature because, we're talking about the forest state there. I saw something today that I first thought, well, how lovely. And now I'm thinking how lonely. It's this guy in Scotland who just got a thrill. Have a look.
I've spent 3 days searching for this and I've got it. That is amazing. Like, guys, just look at this. Look at where I am in Scotland, in the UK, and there is a Kookaburra.
So, Louise, a Kookaburra in Scotland sitting up there in the tree, all very nice for the Scots, but should I feel sorry for the bird?
To be honest, my first reaction was a bit of a humorous one, I think, maybe a bit of self-reflection. I think he might just be on a working holiday, that little fella, and he's planning his next Kentucky tour. He's going out, he's seeing the world. Nah, good on him. I'm proud.